Jump. Hey guys, welcome back for week number 3. Obviously been going for 2 weeks now. I think things have been going really well for everyone that's on the program. I think you guys have been doing a really good job of taking in the information or using the information that we're putting out on video and through the written content. Through the past couple weeks also, we've been learning more and more about a few different people that are using the site, that are using the program. So it's always interesting to hear kind of who's on it, their background and stuff like that. So if you haven't contacted us already or given us a heads up, maybe tag us on some of your training videos on Instagram or Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear who's on the program and a little bit more about you. We want to be able to help you guys as much as we can and get involved in any way that we can. So getting into week 3, kind of jumping right into it here, kind of the main component of starting week number 3 is it's going to be beginning, week 3 there, week 3 of 14, going to be the beginning of a 10-week squat program. So the last 2 weeks of the squats, we've been in the program for 2 weeks now, but just to confirm, those last 2 weeks of squats have been more to kind of prime and prepare you for this specific squat program that you're going into. So all that work that you've done so far, it wasn't for nothing. It was to kind of introduce you and to get you ready to go for that. So squat program. So I'm going to start out this week kind of easing into the reps, so to speak, and then building on that through the weeks to come. So the basic concept of this squat program that you're going to be on is first of all very high focus on 80%. This is a squat program that I've gone back through many times through my career, and probably the one that I got the most out of. So I really like it. I made some kind of adjustments to it as I've done it different times through my programs and also through programs that I've given to a lot of other people. But 80%, day 1 is typically always going to be 6 sets of 2 reps at 80%. A couple of the little adjustments I've made is bringing that down to 75% for some of the weeks and adding pauses to that. But basically you'll be doing 6 sets of 2 every single week on the same day. The second day of the program is going to be on the first week, it's going to be 6 sets of 2, and then you're going to raise that up a rep until you get to 6 sets of 6. So on week number 4, which will be week 2 of the squat program, you'll do 6 sets of 3, and then the following week 6 sets of 4, then 5, and then 6, and then we'll start to play with the percentages and the reps for a couple more weeks after that. So you guys will be playing with that, and again, as you raise up those reps, especially by the time you get to sets of 5 and sets of 6, those are going to be pretty tough days for you. But we'll be sure and write the program in a way that will allow you the best chance to complete those days and the best recovery from those days. So be looking out for that, and I'm pretty confident that all you guys that are consistent with the program and that you're doing that will be get a lot of benefit from it. Okay, so as far as the program as a whole, you're going to see a little bit of adjustment of some of the exercises, so a little bit of a different order. Maybe some of the exercises are going to be adjusted a little bit. Probably most of the exercises are going to be the same as they've been, but just again continuing to progress up or recover and then progress up from there. So look out for some slight adjustments in order, maybe slight difference in days on some of the exercises than you're used to from the last couple weeks. But again, of course, we have a plan to, as usual, to progress the weights and or progress you into exercises that are leading towards the full lift. So for example, a behind the neck jerk grip push press will eventually progress into a behind the neck power jerk, which will then go to a power jerk, and then a split jerk, and so on. Okay. Getting in now to a couple of the newer exercises that you're going to see. We're going to those, and the first one is going to be a clean deadlift. So this is going to be actually not only the beginning of a 10-week squat program, but it's also going to be the beginning of, I believe it's going to be a 5-week clean deadlift program where you're going to kind of progress up in weight and kind of change the reps a little bit as we go through those 5 weeks, and then we'll change that exercise and move on from it. But I wanted to take this opportunity during this video to really talk to you just a little bit about your start position, and not only your start position, but focusing on and hitting that launch position on every single rep on the way up and on the way down for your clean deadlifts. Now, the first thing is I want to remind you to take a look at the videos that we put out. Specifically, I've made some adjustments and added some description in the description section of the YouTube videos on the clean liftoff and snatch liftoff. So even though you're not going to be doing clean liftoff here, you're doing a clean deadlift, there's a detailed description and explanation of start position on that. But the first thing that I want to go over is, that's in the description on start position, is if you get yourself into a good quality launch position, and the basics of that are the toes are down, so I'm not back on my heels, right? So I'm pretty solid on my feet. My shins are vertical. My knees can be flared out slightly or in more of a neutral position. That's going to be individual dependent, which we'll get you some more information on that as we go. Slight bend in the knee, and back is tight. The shoulders are going to be over, maybe slightly in front of the bar in this position. But if you'll notice, I have a back angle here. And so basically you want to get yourself in this good quality launch position, what we're going to call your ideal launch position, and take note of the angle. Either take a picture, take a video, have somebody else help you out and look at that, and then you're basically going to try to match that angle from the floor. Now, a couple things along with that in this start position that will help match this back angle and also give you the overall start position that we want is, one, I'm going to be again solid on my feet. So with the technique and method that we're teaching you, that's what we're looking for, where your body weight is centered in the middle of the foot, not necessarily the bar, but your body weight. So a lot of people will tell you to start more on the ball of your foot or start more further back on your heels, and those are neither right or wrong, but they don't fall in line with the method that we're teaching and what we recommend for you. So being centered on your foot is the first one. The second one, we like to see the bar touching the shins. Another one, make sure that your clean grip is right. So for me, it's a thumb length plus an inch outside of where the knurling is. If you'll get the bar in your front rack and measure 2 to 3 inches outside of your shoulder, that's our recommended clean grip for you. And then shoulders are going to be directly over the bar or slightly in front. Again, the bar, but it's easy to get too far in front of the bar with your shoulders, which can drag you too far forward as a whole, which means you're going to be fighting against yourself the rest of the way up and keeping the bar close and even lifting the bar up, adding difficulty to even lifting the bar up. So key components are matching the back angle of the launch, being centered mid-foot and shoulders either directly over the bar, meaning if I'm right here, then the bar is directly under my shoulder, or the shoulder may be about an inch in front. If you're within that range, then you're in a pretty good start position, okay? From there, on those clean deadlifts, we want to make sure that you're feeling the launch position here and practicing getting there, standing up, making sure when you stand up, all I really want to make sure and see is that the bar is dragging your thighs on the way up, and then very important, I want you putting it back down the same way. So you see I maintain my back angle in reverse, and I drag my thighs down as well in reverse, and maintain from the launch down. So from the launch is where my knees start to go forward and out, so I can maintain that back angle and refine that same start position. Now, I want you to learn to do that. When you can learn to do that, you're going to get kind of 2 for the price of 1 on every single clean deadlift that you do. So if you're unable to, a couple things I want you to do is maybe keep the weight a little bit lighter and pause at the launch on the way up and or on the way down to make sure you're hitting that position, because that will really put you in the position to be able to maintain your angle on the way down, okay? So lighten the weight if you need to on that. Also, if you feel like you're losing position or you're videoing and you know you're losing position, then make sure that you are resetting. So I want you to get to the point to where you're doing touch and go. Just slow, controlled touch and go. Because I think that can show and lend toward a lot of consistency eventually. But again, if you're not able to do that initially, hitting the right position, then make sure that you stop and completely reset, okay? So those are my main concepts for the clean deadlift. Again, make sure you go watch those other videos for a little bit more detail, okay? Next one, show you for the snatch squat press. First of all, it's a very beneficial exercise. It's one that we have in the program right now, but it wouldn't hurt you to do it every single day with the bar just for a couple sets for a warm-up. But the big thing that I want you to get here is this concept of progression, and that's just like pretty much everything else that we do. But the specific progression for this, and let me show you first what that exercise is. So with your snatch grip, bar in your back rack position, gonna squat down, get into a good quality bottom position, and then press from the bottom. Hold that briefly, back down, and then back up. Hold that briefly each rep. Now, notice that the bar is perfectly in line with the back of my head. And I'm very confident that everybody can do this, so pay attention again to the videos, but key concepts here are that my wrists are back, my elbow is locked, and my shoulder is down, not shrugged up, right? So it's down, bars in line with the back of my head, and that's the position that I want you to hold. All right? Now, if one is unable to budge the bar from their back in that bottomed out position, or the quality of your bottom position isn't quite where we need it to be yet, the first thing that I want you to consider is elevating your heels. Okay, so we've talked about this on some of the other videos, but you're going to get a slight amount of your heel on the elevation, and you're going to do the same thing. Okay? So that's your first step. Now, if you've elevated your heels, and you can elevate a little bit more than that if you still need to, if you elevated your heels and you are still unable to do that, then let's go ahead and go down in weight to a trainer bar or even a PVC. Now, if you're still unable to do it, I want you to go ahead and try a couple rounds of the mobility that I'm going to indicate for you to do between those sets anyway, but you can do those in the beginning to try to open yourself up a little bit and to again see if you can find a way to be able to do that setting in the bottom with elevation, with less weight, and then go from there. Now, if you still aren't able to do it, and there's going to be some people out there that aren't, then what you can do is try, without the elevation of course, try sitting in a chair and pressing from there. And then what you're going to do there is try to progress down. So you may progress to a medicine ball after that, or you may start a little bit higher than that, progress down to a chair, progress down to a bench if it's a little bit lower, if you can get a lower box or a medicine ball, whatever it is, until you can finally try the plates again. So again, remember, it's all about the progression. It's all about you starting where you need to start and then progressing through until you can do it on the level surface. And again, doing the right mobility between sets, I promise you, will help you out a whole lot, okay? Those are the key components of week number 3. Again, let us know how you're doing. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will see you next week.